Yes, let's go. Throw the hook with the best of them. King Kong beat your chest, should've slept on you. What's next? The check drip dip, run the neck, check hook by the bookfish hook off the deck. ShowBizz. Throw the hook, shouldn't have slept on you. Subscribe to the biz. What's taking y'all so long? Does it cost? I'm the boss. Get involved. Up off. Subscribe to the biz. What's up, my people? This is ShowBizz, Lord. Don't. All right, man. Look. Well, let's throw the hook. So, if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Errol the True Spence will be taking on your Adonis Ugas for unification, Super WBA, IBF, and the WBC title somewhere around March, April of next year, 2022. But we all know the fight we really want to see, and that's Terrence Bud Crawford versus Errol the True Spence. And it's not next, but I do have faith that that fight will happen later in 2022 for Undisputed. I think that's the idea, which lead me to really think about this now. With everything we know about Errol the True Spence, everything we know now about Terrence Bud Crawford, what he did at Showtime, Sean Porter, Errol the True Spence not fighting since Danny Swift Garcia. Who would actually win between Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol the True Spence? And really, I'm at a loss. So I thought, let me go back to some of the old heads, the Leon Muhammads of the world, the Teddy Atlas of the world, Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather Sr., all those boys. Let's see what they think. Like, I know boxing, but I'm going to have to know boxing for another 20 plus years to pick up what they know. So let's see what the OGs had to say about Terrence Bud Crawford versus Errol the True Spence.
Earl Spence have the ability to make him great, but he can't. Earl Spence can never beat Bud Crawford because he don't live right, and he don't eat right, he don't train right, and he don't have the team to beat Bud Crawford. He can't beat Terrence Crawford. Why not? Terrence Crawford moves too much, and Terrence Crawford is a big puncher. He gonna fire back off the angle while he's moving. And he got some semblance of Ray Robinson, not greatest Ray Robinson. I don't see Terrence to the body with that left hook backing up.
I honestly think that Earl needs a tune-up fight. I don't think he's back where he was at his best, and plus, I mean, he keep having so many issues. And I mean, and you don't want to just jump right into the fire with Crawford.
Hey, listen, I haven't seen Errol Spence fight a top-notch guy yet. Oh, he fought Kell Brook. Terrence Crawford took Kell Brook out in 3 rounds. From what Terrence told me, something feel like Earl may not be comfortable. I'm not sure. If you come to Dallas and do a donut in my yard or in my front of my house, in my neighborhood in the car, we probably gonna fight for free after that. Right now, Terrence is more proven than Earl, so I'd have to lean toward Terrence right now, but don't get it wrong, Earl's a good fighter.
And he's got one other thing that might even be better than what Spence has, and you didn't expect me to say that. He's got tremendous instincts. He's got an instinctual presence to him that I haven't seen with too many fighters. I favor Spence in that fight, but it'd be a fight that I would actually go to.
Right now, at this point, I would have to pick Crawford over Spence, just because Spence had an accident and we really don't know how he's gonna come back.
Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I think I might go with the guy that is just won too.
Spence?
Yeah. I remember seeing Earl Spence. I think he's better.
You know, it's so fun going into the archives there. You know, I went back, 2 years all the way up to now just to get some of those testimonies. I didn't grab everything, but I think we got pretty much of an idea of what the OGs think. It kind of feels like if you really, really know boxing, like if you really study and know the art and was baptized in the sport, it seemed like you would lean more towards Terrence Bud Crawford than Errol the True Spence. So the question is, what does ShowBizz the adult think? And what do you all think in the comments below? Let me tell you what I think. Look, in looking at Terrence Bud Crawford, okay, this is what I noticed. Terrence Bud Crawford, he's like a computer. He starts a little late. He starts collecting data, okay? He goes from orthodox. He starts in orthodox collecting data. Then he switches over to southpaw. And that's when he starts to implement, right? He has all the data. He got all the research. Now it's time to take the test, right? It's time to put all of that to work. And that's when you start seeing adjustments made by Terrence Bud Crawford later in the fight. Now, here's the funny thing about Errol the True Spence. Errol the True Spence, he kind of starts immediately, okay? He starts establishing the jab, start laying down the groundwork. But the funny thing is, as the fight goes on, he actually gets stronger. Which makes me think, when you think about Terrence Bud Crawford versus Errol the True Spence, you got Errol the True Spence starting off a bit more aggressively, right? Look, I'm going to put my game plan together right now. Let me start off with the jab. Let me start a little bit earlier. And Terrence Bud Crawford collects that data. He starts making the adjustments that Errol the True Spence can't quite make. Okay, let's keep it real. Terrence Bud Crawford has more tools than Errol the True Spence, okay? His IQ is crazy. So is Errol the True Spence. But Terrence Crawford making those adjustments later. But as he makes those adjustments, Errol the True Spence is just getting stronger. He's just starting to be more and more of a rock, more and more of a bully. And it kind of reminds me of Hearns Hagler. That's right. Not exactly how the fight went, but those two fighters. Hearns, let's keep it real. He had more tools than Marvelous Marvin Hagler. But Marvelous Marvin Hagler, the tools he had, he was a great fundamental boxer. He did all the things right. He also can switch stands. But Marvelous Marvin Hagler, being that rock, chopping away at the bit when they fought each other. I mean, there are people who say that Tommy Hearns didn't have his legs going into the fight. I'm not sure what happened, but I do know this. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, he won that crazy 3-round slugfest by knocking out Tommy Hearns. But when it comes to me predicting this fight between Errol the True Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford, it's very difficult to predict. You have both of them with like opponents. Kell Brook, Showtime Shawn Porter, and Terrence Crawford did shorter work with Kell Brook than Errol the True Spence, and did shorter work of Showtime Shawn Porter than Errol the True Spence. And when it comes to Showtime Shawn Porter specifically, the fight was kind of the same between the two. It was pretty much a draw up until the 10th round. Errol the True Spence dropping Showtime Shawn Porter in the 10th, and Terrence Bud Crawford doing the same thing, but dribbling him off the canvas twice. And Kenny Porter, we all know, waving a towel and stopping the fight. Look, let's do it like this. Hold on. Let me get my Thanos. Black, 2 sugars. Let's do it like this. When it comes to Errol the True Spence, after his car accident, only fighting Danny Swift Garcia in the past, I don't know, a year or two, him picking up that injury, partial retinal tear. We don't know exactly what Errol the True Spence got left until we see his fight with Yordenis Ugas. Maybe he's 100%. Maybe he didn't skip a beat. Maybe he didn't miss anything. Maybe Errol the True Spence is still the truth. Or maybe he lost a little bit. And I think that's why we really need this fight, Errol the True Spence versus Yordenis Ugas, come March or April. We really need this fight because we really need to see who is Errol the True Spence now. Is he still the truth? And if he is still the truth, who do I predict to win? Look, I'm going to stay consistent. I've always had Spence beating Terrence Bud Crawford. Even though I think Terrence Crawford got more tools, right? And I often said water beats rock, meaning that water can do more things than rock. In this case, I will remain consistent and choose rock. I think Errol the True Spence, like Marvelous Marvin Hagler, no matter how much Terrence Bud Crawford makes those adjustments, and he's going to make those adjustments, and I think he hurts Errol Spence. Right? I think he has the power, the accuracy. I think he has the variation in his punches, the variety in his punches, rather. I think he can hurt Errol the True Spence for sure. But I think Spence just keeps revving up as the fight goes on. And I am going to put a little bit of an edge on the side of Errol the True Spence beating Terrence Bud Crawford if Errol the True Spence remains the truth. But if I listen to our OGs, it seems like most of them are leaning in the direction of Terrence Bud Crawford, and that weighs a ton. What say you? Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Thanks for throwing the hook with the biz. ShowBizz adult. Subscribe to the biz. Hey. Up off. Subscribe to the biz. Hey. Up off.